Hello there, Homeschool Nolan here to help you navigate learning in the digital age. The digital age has been great for homeschooling and learning. Thanks to digital technologies, we can now access an unlimited library of books, documentaries, lectures, and excellent educational videos to help us learn just about anything online. But there is a downside, and today I'd like to talk about the greatest challenge of learning in the digital age, and that is digital distraction. I'm sure all of us can relate to going online to do productive work only to be distracted by social media, news clips, gaming, and other addictive content. I know that whenever I go on YouTube to try to learn something, I'm always tempted to click on other links in sports, music, and entertainment that pop up on my feed. The ability to stay focused is an even bigger challenge for our kids. Now, I won't go into detail today about all the other potential harmful effects of digital distraction and addiction, such as anxiety, depression, and inability to concentrate. There are plenty of books out there written on this subject, and I think all parents instinctively know that it's simply not good for our kids to be addicted to screens all day. But what I would like to do today is talk about why it's especially hard for homeschoolers to overcome digital distractions and share some tips on how I deal with this challenge. First, why is it so hard, especially for homeschoolers, to avoid digital distractions? After all, isn't the simple answer to just take away the digital devices from our kids? Well, if you homeschool like we do, we rely on a lot of excellent educational content that's available online and makes our homeschooling easier. Now, this could be YouTube videos, or it could be more structured online learning platforms. We also use tutors and virtual classes that meet online. Because the internet offers so many resources, throwing them away to avoid digital distractions is sort of like throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Even if you don't really rely on online resources for your homeschooling, it's probably just not realistic in this day and age to shelter our kids from the internet. After all, they are growing up in a world where they will one day grow up and have to learn to work as adults with computers. And they will eventually have to learn how to self-regulate and self-discipline when working in a sea of distractions. Ideally, we as parents want to be able to provide access to the internet while blocking out distractions and other potentially harmful content. That's why my first tip for dealing with digital distractions is to invest in a Wi-Fi firewall service. Digital distraction is a problem created by technology, and it can be mitigated by technology. I have to admit though, at first I was reluctant to spend more money on a service that filters and blocks specific internet content from my home. I tried instead to teach my son the importance of staying focused, and I tried to monitor his internet usage simply by watching him at home. But it wasn't long before I realized that this wasn't going to work. As a working parent myself with a day job, I simply couldn't watch over his shoulder all the time to see what he was doing. And if I, as an adult, often feel tempted to take a look at social media or news clips while I'm working during the day, how can I expect a 10-year-old not to do the same? So finally, I decided to invest in a Wi-Fi solution with a firewall service. The one I decided on was recommended to me by my friend who is also a homeschooling parent. I use the Eero Wi-Fi system. For an additional $99.99 a year, it offers a security service that you can use to block specific apps and websites like gaming and social media. It can also pause Wi-Fi access to specific devices in our home. Now, there are other Wi-Fi services, firewall services out there that you can look at. I encourage you to shop around to find out which one is the best for you. But keep in mind that firewall services such as these may not be perfect. I found that occasionally, for reasons that only a network engineer would understand, me and my son can still occasionally get through to and access sites I had blocked. But at the very least, I've also found that having a Wi-Fi firewall service in place can help your child focus better and greatly reduce their exposure to addictive and potentially harmful content on the internet. In addition to using technology, we as parents should also strive to set a good example for our kids when it comes to avoiding digital distraction. Now, I know this sounds much easier said than done, as we as parents also depend on our devices to work and live our daily lives. But setting a good example doesn't mean you can't use computers in front of your kids. To me, setting a good example means showing my kids that I have boundaries and limits to my own internet usage. For example, I make it a point to close my laptop at 5 p.m. every day after I get off work. I try to read now from physical books in front of them instead of reading from my tablet or my phone. And perhaps most important of all, try avoid staring at your phone in front of your kids right before bedtime. Now, these may all seem like small gestures, but kids watch what we do as much as what they hear what we say. And these tiny habits can all add up in setting a good example for our kids. Now, it's not enough to simply tell our kids what not to do. We should also give them positive things to do. So my third tip on beating digital distractions is to schedule in-person activities outside the home. Just because you're a homeschooler, it doesn't mean you should stay at home. If you schedule activities such as sports, music, or playdates with other kids outside the home, this will naturally take them away from screens. I think team sports are especially great for kids because it gives them a chance to play, compete, and work together with other kids to achieve a goal. My son is on a swim team, and he has practice 5 days a week. He also goes to Sunday school and goes to an outdoor science class with other homeschoolers. Because my wife and I have in-person activities built into his regular routine, we don't worry as much about him spending a few hours on the weekends playing online games with his friends. By following these tips, you can take full advantage of learning in the digital age without worrying as much about digital distraction. And if you're looking for a comprehensive online platform for learning, check out study.com. Study.com has over 83,000 engaging videos on English, math, science, social studies, and many other subjects. My son uses it, and we find it to be a great way to support homeschooling and supplemental learning. Use the coupon code HomeschoolNolan and get 30% off for 3 months. Try study.com today. So in summary, there has never been a better time in history to homeschool and to learn just about anything in the digital age. But doing so does require some self-discipline. And I will admit, it's not easy. But if you follow the tips in this video, I'm sure you'll be able to enjoy learning and life in general much better. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.